And right now, experts are taking a close look at the finances of the Greenville County Housing Authority. That organization wants to know if funds were misused. Earlier this month, the Housing Authority put CEO Sean Williams on administrative leave after she was indicted for racketeering. Those charges stem from her time at the Georgia Department of Community Affairs, as she worked there before coming to Greenville in 2020.
Now, we've learned new details about that audit process. Fox Carolina's Grace Runkle live in our studio with what she obtained through a Freedom of Information Act request.
Well, every year, the Greenville Housing Authority has to undergo an audit, which they present to the Greenville City Council and the mayor. Now, this is to make sure they are legally and efficiently utilizing federal funds to provide low-income housing. We got a hold of their 3 most recent reports and found the company they hire to keep them in check has found issues before. An audit of the Greenville Housing Authority found significant deficiencies in 2020. Accounting firm Milletta & Company put together the 53-page report. The firm specializes in auditing nonprofits. They found income calculations performed during annual re-examinations contained errors. This is important because how much a participant makes determines how much rent they pay or how much assistance they get. The accountants looked at a sample of the authority's 3,000 cases for that year. Out of 40 files, 3 contain calculation errors, totaling about $5,000 in overpayments. The same audit also found tenant files were incomplete. Auditors attributed this to insufficient oversight of third-party management agents. But according to the audit from the following year in 2021, both of those problems were fixed. We reached out to a spokesperson for the Housing Authority, and he says Milletta & Company, the auditing firm, was about to finish their 2022 report when the indictment came down against Williams. So they've asked the company to go back and review 2020 as well as 2021. Live in the studio, Grace Runkle, Fox Carolina News.